Hey, beautiful souls. Are you ready to transform your life with the power of light? Introducing our revolutionary light therapy patches. These little wonders harness the natural healing energy of light to rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit. Imagine waking up every day feeling refreshed, energized, and ready to conquer your goals. Our patches work to reduce inflammation, boost energy, and enhance overall well-being, all while you go about your day. Don't miss out on this game changer. Visit jenniferpilates.com to learn more and to grab your light therapy patches today. Your transformation awaits. Take the first step now. Feel the light, feel the change. Welcome to Empowered Within, a soul-quenching, transformational podcast that will set your soul on fire. Through candid and inspiring conversations, leading experts, celebrities, healers, and I share our journeys of how we've overcome challenges to living an empowered life from within. I'm your host, Jennifer Pilates. Welcome to another episode of Empowered Within. Hi there, and welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have with us today. We've got Miss Tyguenne in the house. She is a psychic medium, astrocartographer, Reiki master teacher, and spiritual modality expert. I mean, hello, that's a lot right there. Her soul's mission as a spiritual mentor is to guide humanity towards awakening their soul's purpose. Her methods incorporate a variety of spiritual modalities with the mission of teaching you to harness your innate superpowers and align yourself with your unique purpose. Welcome to the show, Tyguenne.
Thank you so much for having me. I have like chills from your intro there, not mine, but yours. That really gave me the chills. It's so beautiful, your mission also.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm so excited. We found each other random one night scrolling on Instagram, and this beautiful soul popped across, and I said, oh my gosh, we need to connect. And you were so gracious and said you'd love to come on the show. So let's talk about your spiritual journey, because you talk about being thrown into chaos to find your life purpose. So take me back to how it all started for you.
Oh, wow. It's so funny to go all the way back. So my first major spiritual awakening happened in 2016. And the way that it happened is I was living in like the San Francisco Bay Area at the time. I wasn't really aligned with my life. I mean, my job was frustrating. I was in a relationship that wasn't really serving me. I was in a living situation that I didn't love. And once I got out of that relationship, I thought, I want to just do something crazy. I want to go travel. Like, I want to go take myself somewhere international. We had traveled together, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to empower myself and go travel. So I booked a 2-week vacation to Bali, which Bali is so magical. And day 5 into my trip in Bali, it's funny because before that, I was actually having dreams. I was waking up to earthquakes, actually. It's funny, before this, you asked me about earthquakes. I was waking up to earthquakes that weren't happening, which is odd because there's a lot of earthquakes in the San Francisco Bay Area. But I was waking up in the middle of the night to these earthquakes, and I was having this, now I know, clairaudience. So I was hearing like this voice saying like, you're not coming back from Bali. You're not going to come back. You're going to stay. Something's going to happen. It made me nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going to go down? So I kind of started prepping. I'm going to pack a little extra. I don't know what's going on, but that was the first time that I was having this like clairaudient voice coming through. And day 5 into my trip in Bali, I had an experience with a plant medicine. And with that, it completely catapulted my spiritual awakening. From there, I had my first ever Reiki healing, which is a crazy story in and of itself, how I got to this Reiki healing. But that it all led me down the path of basically getting thrown into the midst of multiple spiritual modalities. And it was like this snowball effect.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. So let's talk about how did you word it, the medicine that you took while you were there? What was that?
It was psilocybin, which at the time was actually legal in Bali. And so it was this like, oh my gosh, it's legal. It's something I want to experience. My friend and I, who did it together, had no prior knowledge. We ended up getting it from a local, and we did too much, I would say. And we went to new places, other dimensions. And that really opened my eyes to things that I knew were out there, but I actually was able to experience it for myself.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, what happened with the whole earthquake situation? Was there an earthquake in California? What was that premonition all about?
There were no earthquakes happening. I actually have had a lot of students who have experienced this as well. It's almost like a tremor to a spiritual awakening, it feels like. I don't know. It's like something was shaking my bed, and it wasn't earthquakes because I was always looking like, what is this? What's happening? It was my guides. It was my like kundalini. I don't know what it was, honestly. Such a great question, but it felt like these tremors of like your life is about to be shaken up. Things are about to change. Like wake up, because I would wake up thinking I need to do something. Like I need to pack my bags. I need to pack up my apartment. I need to do something, but I didn't know where it was coming from. So I didn't know what to do at the time until, yeah, I get to Bali and I quit my corporate job in an email and I was like, I'm not coming back. And I just stayed in Bali.
Wow. Now, how long did you stay in Bali?
So I actually was in Bali for 1 month and then I went over to Thailand and I spent 5 months in Thailand. I was poor at the time, although I was working two jobs in San Francisco. It was just like I had a certain amount of money. I was paying for my car payment back home. And I was just like, I need to make this work until I run out of money. So abroad, I was working jobs. I was working at hostels. I was renting paddle boards on beaches while also diving into yoga, meditation, tantra, Reiki, all of the things at once. So that whole was my first international travel experience, lasted 6 months. And since then, I've been doing it on and off where I just kind of like throw my life away and go travel.
Wow. And is this something now that you plan, or do you just wait for that your body to speak to you, your guides to speak to you, and then you're like, oh, I'm traveling?
I got chills when you said that. It's exactly that. I let the universe guide me. I say I don't make any decisions anymore. And that is the trip that kind of solidified that for me. The second trip that I booked, I went to Peru and I woke up at like 1 a.m. and booked a flight to Peru. I just let my intuition guide me. Even when I'm on the road, I make zero plans. I just, yeah, just like you said, my guides say, okay, it's time. Here you go. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to trust, fall into it. Let's do this.
My gosh, I didn't know there was someone out there like me
Ooh,
who just leans in and goes with it and travels or moves or does this or does that. Yes, like it's so important when you listen and tune in. So when you use the word spiritual awakening for someone who's like, I've heard of it, but I don't know if I've had one, how would you describe it based on what you've gone through so someone could better understand that?
Absolutely. I feel like throughout our lives, we have multiple spiritual awakenings, but there's something about that first one, which is different for everyone. I would say for me, it was finally feeling like in my soul the things that I thought maybe were possible. I believe for most people, it happens with a drastic life change. So, whether it be a career move, a breakup, like a lot of times a spiritual awakening can come from something dramatic or traumatic. And so to me, it's your third eye opening. So that third eye intuition consciousness where you're forced. I think most spiritual awakenings, you're forced, right? You're thrown into it. For some people, it's more gradual, but for me, it was just like instant. So it kind of depends, but it's your third eye opening and you being able to see beyond the physical, you being able to, whether it's physically seeing, whether you're clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, however you tap in, because I always talk about how we all have our innate superpowers. So it's kind of that beginning effect of you understanding your superpowers, them coming online, whether you're getting psychic, whether you're tuning into other dimensions, whether you're completely changing your life, like you're aligning yourself with your soul's purpose and you're seeing new things. So it can be intense. Like I would say, spiritual awakening is not for the faint of heart. Like when you're ready to get thrown into it, you will get thrown into it. But if you feel like you're questioning everything, if you feel like your life is falling apart, if you feel like you're now understanding things that maybe people around you don't see or don't quite get, maybe it's hard to relate to the common, the masses, it's hard to relate, and you start uncovering new things about your own existence, about why we're here, about the world. There's so many elements to it, but I would say if you're questioning everything, you're probably on the brink of a spiritual awakening.
Right? You're on that brink of something amazing about to happen and transform in your life. I love
Yes,
that.
each time it's a transformation and you grow and you evolve and you transform, and it's a beautiful, beautiful journey.
Yeah. And I love how you talk about that there isn't just one, because I'm definitely a big believer of that. So many. I mean, you can go through so many different aspects of your world, and some are larger spiritual awakenings, and some are just little like knocks on the door of awarenesses.
Yes, love that.
So you've mentioned that humanity is waking up at a rapid pace, and we really need to support each other. I would love for you to dive into what that means to you, what you're seeing in this awakening of humanity, and how can we really help and support one another?
Absolutely. I speak a lot about the chakra system, and it's one of my passions, and it kind of can better explain how humanity is awakening. So we have our root chakra, which is what grounds us. It's our connection to the earth, it's connection to survival, to things around us. This was like the modern caveman. They were all about, how do I survive? How do I push forward? How do I just meet my needs? Then we get to the sacral chakra, which is more about creativity. It's about, dance. It's about sensuality, sexuality. It's about stepping more into this aspect of like the divine feminine, the divine masculine. So that's where society started growing, when we got like artwork, music, more of that cultural experience. We've been evolving since the beginning of time. Where we've been now is more in our solar plexus chakra, which is more about that individuality. So the I, the ego, my sense of power. What am I doing? What is my purpose? How do I find my place in the world? We're still in this, but what we're shifting into is that heart chakra consciousness. So we're evolving more into this, kind of going back to that sense of community, to that sense of, how do I be of service? How do I offer compassion? How do we connect in a way that we've kind of gotten away from? So this is the shift that we're experiencing. And as humanity, we're going to continue expanding into chakras until, as a society, we are more awakened and we are more evolved. And so just what's going on in the current world, the energies, the astrology, we're in the age of Aquarius where this is happening. And if you look at what's going on in society, there are things that are happening that are making people flip like that. It's like the fastest ever that people are just, their third eyes opening. We're coming online. We're remembering our soul purpose. We're remembering our soul essence. We're remembering that we're not separate from each other. We all come from this source. And we all have unique superpowers. We all have a mission. We all have a journey. And I'm sure you could see it a lot in society. You interview so many beautiful souls that are living their purpose. And I'm sure everybody's story is, I was doing this and now I'm doing this. And it's this energy of, how do we be of service? And the new age that we're hopefully coming into is, we're not going to be working for corporations anymore. We're all going to be offering our gifts to the world, and we're all going to be able to make money from that. We're all going to be able to trade with each other. We're all going to be able to support each other. But it's coming from us awakening from this sleep, awakening from this sheep mentalities that society is trying to get us to fall in line with, and getting back to our soul and our essence and bringing that to each other.
That is a beautiful explanation of that. If we take that one step forward, this just popped into my head. What is your feeling, your sense of the world splitting into?
I love this question. Ooh, I get chills. I totally agree with this. And I feel like it's already happened and it's already happening. And the way that I perceive it is, it's more dimensional and it's more energetic. So it could happen, but I don't necessarily think it's two separate earths. I think that it's almost like two separate planes. And so those that are awakening are coming into the plane of the new earth. And those who are not quite there yet are in the old earth, and we're actually existing together. And I say this because everything I believe is from my personal experience. And last year I was in the UK, I was in London. And what I was experiencing is, I was walking down the street and people were not perceiving me. People were running into me on like a wide open sidewalk. I'm like, how are you walking straight towards me right now? I'm very loud and people weren't hearing me. I'd be talking to someone and they'd be like, what? And I had a friend who was also going through the same thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is already happening. They can't perceive my vibration. And I feel like over the years, I've experienced that these people that are living in more of a low vibration just aren't really in my reality. I feel like even during the shutdowns and COVID and all of that, like, it didn't touch me because I didn't let it. So to me, I think it's already happening. We're already stepping into the new earth, and it's getting to a point where others maybe can't perceive us. I believe anything is possible. So sure, alien spaceships can come like beam us up at any time and we could get taken to another planet. I still believe that could be true, but I think the earth is already splitting and it's already happening. People are making choices. And sometimes it's not a choice. It's, are they meant to awaken in this lifetime? Are their experiences leading them to a spiritual awakening? Because there are things that can shut that down. And yeah, it's here. The new earth is here and the old earth is existing on the same plane as us.
I would agree with you 100%. And how do you feel about, I am very conscious of what world I'm in, and I'm
Mm,
still able to go back and forth, not necessarily by choice. It's just with work or people. And it's exactly like how you're describing. I am very aware. There are moments where I feel God and my angels, they did it yesterday. They woke me up at 4:30. They said, you need to get on your phone. You need to know what's going on. Because I had had all these intense feelings inside. And so I'm reading it. I'm like, this is what you woke me up for? Like, I don't care. Like, I don't want to know. They're like, no, you need to know. And then then they were like, okay, put your phone down. By the time I got out of bed, it was like that reality no longer existed. And I was back in my, high vibrational energy, I'll call it, versus, but I was very aware. I feel they bring me time and space of what things I need to know, whether that is for me personally to prepare for something or to be able to help other people.
mhm.
And then get to go back into the high vibe. And then it almost feels, wow, did that even happen? Do you have that going on, or are you just solely in the one world right now?
No, I totally have it going on. The way that I perceive it is the different dimensions or the different densities. So
Mm-hmm.
like common society is on the 3D density. So we talk about being in the 3D world, which is in this common society. A lot of people are still walking as sheep. We're doing what we're told. We're listening to the system. And then a lot of times people in spiritual awakening, you're going next to the 4D dimension, which is probably where your guides took you, which is diving into the truth. So these conspiracies and these different things that are actually going on, we need to have that moment where we're diving deep down these rabbit holes of like, our minds being blown of like, how is this happening? How is this the world? And sometimes you could reach this pit of despair discovering that because you're like, why do I need to know this? And it's easy to get stuck in that 4D dimension because it's like there's so much to discover. But once we elevate above that, we get to the 5D dimension, which is that more like you're talking about that
Bliss.
higher realm, yeah, bliss, manifestation, creation. And then, some of us have the opportunity to go higher sometimes, but I think when we go above 5D, it gets hard, it gets almost impossible to function in society. So we do have to continue to be brought down and kind of toggle between all three because we're still functioning in this society. It hasn't reached that 45D energy yet. We can't get to 12D yet, but yeah, we could have these moments where we go to a meditation retreat and we get to that 12D energy, but we can't maintain that when we go out to the world. So yeah, like you said, I'm always toggling. If we were, in the 5D all the time, we wouldn't be able to function in society. And that's maybe why people are starting to create more of these like communes and communities where they're not in society because it's almost impossible to stay in 5D when we're in a 3D world. We have to make money. We have to do our taxes. There are things we just have to do. So I always laugh when I'm like, okay, I need to be in the 3D right now, but then I need to go balance myself out with something more 5D later.
Yes. I find that all the time. I'm always balancing, like, okay, I did too much 3D. I need to go balance and walk in nature or whatever it is, ring my bells, do something to bring that back. You've been on your journey for how many years has it been now? It's been a while. I mean, I
It's,
think it's,
I think it's 9 years. Yeah.
yeah. And I would say it's been a 9 deep years. Like your 9 years is probably equivalent to some people's 18 years. I would
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
energetically, how like what I'm feeling, I would sense that. Throughout your spiritual journey so far, what would you feel would be your most impactful piece of wisdom that you have gained?
Ooh, that's good. I would say for me, it all started and always keeps coming back to being present. One of the books that I read when I first went through my spiritual awakening was Wherever You Go, There You Are by John Kabat-Zinn. I would say him and then Dr. Joe Dispenza are like two of my absolute favorites. But this book, Wherever You Go, There You Are, is all about being present and how to be present. And it's basically what kind of taught me how to meditate as well. Honestly, the first time I ever meditated was at a 10-day silent Vipassana meditation retreat. So I really like you said, I just kind of dove into things really hard. But that book really I felt like I was highlighting everything of just like, whoa, this is absolutely mind blowing. And I've now done two Vipassana meditation retreats. And I think when I toggle between this 3D, 4D, 5D, I'm always coming back to the message of be present, be here now. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about the future. And don't just be on autopilot. Like, how do I actually stay where I am, be quiet, be still, because that's when your gifts come online. That's when your guides start talking to you. That's when the psychic messages come in. That's when you can decipher what is my ego, what is my mind, what is my intuition, and really trust and really tune in. So I would say silence, slowing down, and being present is like a constant. I'm always coming back to it all the time.
That's beautiful. Being present is so important right now. Again, so that you can be aligned with yourself and pull yourself out of the distractions that's around you, that everything that's trying to pull at you, because there's definitely a lot of smoke and mirrors out there, and you want to be able to discern yourself from everyone else. For the person out there who's listening who says, wow, this sounds amazing. I know I've got something. I don't quite know what it is. What would you guide them? How would you guide them to take that first step to beginning their true spiritual path?
I think for everyone, it's so different. I would say take a look at where you are now and what is serving you and what is not, because I believe the universe rewards those who take risks. And a lot of time, if you're kind of stuck of this, like, I don't want to make decisions, like analysis paralysis, I don't want to do anything, like take a look at what isn't serving you, because once you trust fall into the universe and can let go and trust that you'll be supported, everything opens up for you. I would say, like we were just talking about silence. Silence helps so that we could really tune in. There are exercises and things you could do to tune into your intuition, because I would say intuition is number one. And decipher what that voice is. And you could do that through silence. But also, if there are things that aren't aligned in your life, whether it be people, your job, where you're living, if you're not willing to take a risk, because you have your soul's code is embedded in you. Like, you already know what you should do. And if you're deciding not to do it, you're deciding not to do it. But I would say tune in and listen, because you know what you need to do. If it's leaving that relationship, if it's leaving the job, if it's getting new friends, if it's doing yoga, your guides are always taking you to where you need to go. So if you find a healer that you're attracted to, if you find someone on Instagram, if you find a yoga studio, if you find a painting class, like whatever it is, if you're mulling it over, do it. The universe sends you guides. And I feel so strongly about this because I didn't go through my spiritual awakening alone. I had guides, I had mentors, I had so much support, and the universe is going to guide you to that support. So if you feel alone, listen to where your guides are taking you, listen to your intuition, slow down, and do the thing that you already know you're supposed to do. Like, you already know.
Right. I love that. Is so great. I feel like that right there was a mini little book, step by step, so easy. I want everyone to pause, rewind, go back and just listen to that part, because it really is. It's right. It's that simple and that magnificently amazing, empowering, and transformational all at the same time.
Ooh, yes.
So much so. Okay. So your readings are known to stretch beyond just predictions. You go above and beyond. There isn't generic advice. You really dive into profound and specific insights from someone's spiritual guides and shedding light on to paths and revealing things that maybe someone didn't even know that they needed to know. And so we talked about bringing your essence and your energies into this podcast today and kind of giving our community and listeners a taste test of what it would be like. Oh my gosh, I'm already getting goosebumps. And so I know this is very daring for me to do. It's definitely a little outside of my box, but this is somewhere that I've been shifting with the podcast. I've always been very authentic, but now I'm taking it down another layer, but really upping it another layer, shall we say, as we dive deeper, going higher when we talk about our energy. So are you ready to tune in and see where the universe wants to take us?
Yes, I am so excited. I love what you said about stepping into new authenticity. That's another part of the new earth, just like not being afraid and just showing all your colors. So I have my channeling notebook here and I have my pen, sparkly, of course. The way that I channel is I take pen to paper. It's a way that kind of gets me out of my conditioning, out of my mind, out of my ego, and I'm strictly channeling your guides. So you might hear my little like scribbles. I really just kind of scribble on here.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, sometimes words come through, sometimes numbers come through. It's always different, but I will be closing my eyes, taking my pen and paper. So that way Tyguenne is out of it and I'm connecting strictly with Jennifer's guides. So you want me to go kind of general, right? Like you're ready.
That's what we said. We said we were going to open this up. I have questions prepared if we need, but yeah, I think we should just allow the guides to bring through what needs to come through.
Perfect. At any time, if I'm going on a tangent, you can interrupt me with one of your questions too. Or if something comes up and you're like, oh, wait, that leads me to a question. I want to elaborate on that. Just let me know. So that way I can take it where you want to go. So let me just tap in and see. It seems like you had a guest on recently. I don't know if it was like yesterday or your most recent guest. There's something impactful that you actually learned from them that you're going to take into your own practice. It feels like a modality. I don't know if you're going to like partner with them a little bit more, female energy, but there is a modality here that really interests you into diving into more of your own healing, but I definitely see you becoming a practitioner in it as well. Is it? Feels breathwork oriented, but not exactly. Feels kind of more like feminine womb healing, but through breath, maybe through like something to do with trauma and healing trauma, very feminine energy. I see you definitely diving down more rabbit holes of this type of healing, and you'll be able to take your past experiences, bring it into this healing, heal your past, and then be able to bring it to others, which you're already doing with other modalities, but this is going to be something new. I definitely see a retreat in your future. I don't know if you have something already planned. It feels also very like feminine. I just see a lot of feminine embodiment and like your soul purpose. That's kind of what's coming through. Embodying feminine energy, finding the balance between your masculine and feminine, claiming your energy back. And again, a lot of this has to do with what you've been through because you've been through some pain. You also are carrying some ancestral trauma, specifically on your mom's side, of what the women on your mom's side have been through. And you are definitely the cycle breaker. Your mom definitely did work, but you're definitely the cycle breaker. But she kind of like started the break of the chain from breaking free. And you just feel passionate because it's in your soul, like it's embedded in your DNA to help other women feel the way that you feel, to be able to overcome the things that they've been through and that they've seen in their family. So this is coming through a lot about like soul purpose. I'm definitely seeing a lot of love in your life. You're definitely in that heart-centered energy. It feels like you did have to let go of a lot of people to be able to get to that. So really beautiful journey that you've been on, and can definitely see some of those pain points, but you're definitely working on them and a lot more of your purpose. Let's see, there's something else coming through. Like, yeah, you're working another job right now that you're kind of like, oh, this isn't really what I want to do. But financially, it is going to sustain you for, it feels like the next 3 years. So find your balance between like your purpose and that, because it is supporting you in a really great way. And just know that it's there for a reason. So that way you don't have to struggle with the other things that sometimes come with just being in your purpose. But really take advantage of this opportunity to have both things, because I do see a big move at about those 3 years. Trying to see, like, is it international? I mean, I definitely see more international retreats going on, whether it's you going to them, you facilitating them. But I see a move. They're not giving me exactly where the move is because it could go almost like 5 different ways. I'm kind of seeing like 5 options. So it's going to depend on the timeline that you're on at the time. But I would say to get you closer to that path, really, it's just keep doing what you're doing. But whatever this new modality is that you're being called to, like dive into that, because that's a thing. That's a big thing. Do you want me to keep going general? Does this spark any questions?
Yeah, a little bit. So I have most recently in the past couple of months was guided to shift my business into what I'm calling somatic Pilates healing. And it is based around breath and different movement. It is not a workout. It is really embodying and going deep into what you're speaking of. I did meet and work with someone recently who highlighted this missing piece that I needed to heal, which I knew I knew I was healing. She gave me the specific. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes complete sense with A, B, and C. So I'm letting people know, like, A, she's totally on, totally resonate with everything. The question that I want to bring into this, which is interesting, because you did bring up a female, you brought up, how did I want to ask this question? Oh, I wrote it down because it's a little like, I don't want to give it away. So there's a high profile female who I keep seeing and I keep hearing, I'm literally waiting for the phone call for her to be like, you're amazing. You need to come and work for me.
Ooh, chills.
And I'm wondering, without saying too much about that, if that resonates, if that comes in, I can say where the person is. They're currently out in California.
Let me see. It's hard to tell. Are you guys in contact already? Like, have you had that point of contact? It feels like no. Yeah, it feels like no.
Right.
Yeah, it feels like you haven't had like as direct of a conversation. I'm feeling like you should initiate that. Like if you were to initiate, kind of like putting your cards on the table.
Okay, I did that through a person that is very close with that person. So there's a third party who's already in the pocket of that person, I guess is the best way to say. Hey there, preparedness champions. Are you ready to safeguard your future with the ultimate survival gear? Meet My Patriot Supply, your one-stop shop for all things emergency preparedness. From long-lasting food storage to top-notch survival gear to my favorite, water filtration, we've got you covered. Imagine having peace of mind knowing you're ready for anything, natural disasters, power outages, or even unexpected events. With My Patriot Supply, you can build a robust emergency plan and protect your loved ones. Don't wait for the unexpected. Act now. Visit jenniferpilates.com and prepare with confidence. Your future self will thank you. Gear up today. Head over to jenniferpilates.com to shop My Patriot Supply along with all of our partners.
I'm seeing another point of contact from you. I'm seeing almost like hey, I blah, blah, blah. I know reached out. I just wanted to say like XYZ. I love your work. I'm seeing that. I'm seeing more
type of
indication from you of like, hey, I appreciate XYZ. I'm so excited because both points of contact, I think she's going to kind of be like, oh, okay. And that could speed up the timeline of it because if you just leave it in like her hands, it could be like in 5 months or 6 months or next year. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like something more direct and it feels like sending something with it. So like, I don't know if it's a message and you're sending like your website, but maybe send like, what is it?
Is it the video?
It's a video. Yeah. Send a video. I'm just trying to think like, what is the video? But if you already know the video, it's the video. Send the video, send the letter and leave it at that. And it feels like that will facilitate something because yeah, this definitely could be something. I'm seeing a couple of like, I don't want to say roadblocks, but ways that the timeline just can kind of split. So it kind of is more about what's going on in her life right now. Because there are some things working behind the scenes that are going to dictate like, is this like an instant opportunity or is it something that things need to kind of transpire on her end a little bit more before it becomes a viable thing, whether it be like her having the budget for a person or her having the, I think she's shifting in what she's doing right now too. And so she needs to see how you fit into that. So if it's not happening as fast as you want, just trust that when it comes to the free will and the things that need to happen, it's more on her end, but that there definitely is multiple timelines where it's an opportunity. And there's a couple timelines where it might be more delayed than you want it to be.
Okay, that's exciting. So this leads me into a geography kind of question. So my heart is pulled within 3 places right now. And all 3 I love, and I don't think I could go wrong with any of them. And yet there's an aspect that one is supposed to be meant for like rooting. And then maybe I don't know, maybe I do have homes in the other 3 places, or maybe I'm just visiting. And I'm wondering if there's a sense of where the one root is supposed to be, because I'm wondering, like, I don't want my ego to get involved with where I think versus what is best.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, kind of like I saw earlier, I see 5 different places kind of like strong. So 2 other places are going to come through. I definitely see travel. I definitely see retreats. So I see places that can feel like home, but do you necessarily have a home there? Maybe not, but you have the place that you always go to, right? So it's like, it feels like retreat centers, or it feels like an Airbnb situation, like someone's house, but it's like your second home or 5th home, whatever the homes are. So let's see more timeline where the jumping off point to this is. Yeah, I think some of these places aren't necessarily going to be living, but they're going to feel like home. There are parts of the California thing that feels like you could be rooted, but also it feels like it might not really feel like home. Wherever you're going to be in California, like there are elements of it that are going to serve different parts of your purpose, but is this going to be where you're going to like stay and settle down? I don't think so. I could definitely see you spending many years there. And then if you're jet setting to these other places, it's going to be a good takeoff point because some of these places are international. I see kind of like Florida, Georgia coming up. I don't know why they're showing me like both in one, but they're showing me like both in one. As far as like, I'm kind of just trying to tune into like the next rooted place almost. Florida, Georgia, I see. Even New Mexico, I see as an option. These are places that will be more rooted, but just for like a short extended period of time. By short, I mean like 3 to 8 years. That could still be like considered short, even though I know that's kind of long. I don't think Europe is a place that's going to be good for you to live yet. If that's in the running, like that's going to be down the road, past 10 years.
Can I throw in a state?
Yeah.
Does anything come up with Arizona?
So this is going to be contingent on that California timeline, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like either or.
That's what's feeling in my heart. So I'm in a place right now that is lovely. I like it. My heart, it is. There's a back and forth between Arizona and California.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like the place that I'm in now, if this is where I'm supposed to really just be, or if this is let's just be here and heal for a moment, wait for the world to explode, and then when it's done, then you can move on.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yep. I have a feeling you're on your Chiron line, maybe, because that's a place of like emotional, mental, physical healing. Yes, like you're supposed to be there now and you were supposed to be there, but you're almost, because you're so intuitive, it's like you're feeling the other timelines. And so it's bringing you out of it because you're like, I know I'm supposed to go somewhere,
Right.
but because things aren't aligned yet, you kind of get caught in this like, but I want to do it now, but I can't do it now, but right. So you're almost jumping into those timelines, which is what you're feeling. So yes, you're still going to be here a little longer, 1 to 3 years. Like that could be within the years.
That's maybe. A lot. A lot long. I was thinking months. That's a lot longer than I thought.
Then maybe it's months. I'm seeing 1 to 3. So that could also be months.
I was sensing June that I would be exiting. And I don't know why, but I just sort of felt June.
Well, that's around that 3 months. Yeah. When I get numbers, that's the thing about readings to keep in mind. Everything is interpretation. So really take it as it resonates, because I'm interpreting the messages one way and it could get lost in translation. So that's actually a perfect example of like timelines. I always say take with a grain of salt, because timelines, free will, and the butterfly effect play major roles in this. Anything can change at any time. So even when people ask me timelines during readings, I'm hesitant. And I always say, like,
Right.
take all of that with a grain of salt because anything can change tomorrow. And the guides offer timelines. Yeah, that's a perfect example. It could be 1 to 3 months.
I agree with
I
that.
think 333, like there's all these like steps that need to be taken.
Well, it's like 3 and then get this. So I wonder, so I'm gonna throw this at you. So I keep saying to God, like, and I believe like when you're at a place, it's this or something better. Well, this where I'm at is pretty phenomenal. From the physical place with the four walls and the roof to the town to the people. And so I keep saying, well, am I limiting myself, God? Can I have a place in all three places?
Mm-hmm.
And then I go, well, if I'm thinking logically, logically, perhaps being rooted in Arizona and then going between the other two.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you said, it's a perfect example of like our human likes to put limits on things and getting that 3D of like, okay, well, I only have these options. You definitely have other options. Yeah, and again, what does it look like? It doesn't necessarily have to be um that you like buy 3 houses, right? Like, what are
Right.
the other options? There's so many options that allow you to have this
Mm-hmm.
freedom and this nomadic lifestyle. Like, it's all about research. It's all about researching what are the options. And again, like, there's nothing I could tell you now that your heart doesn't already know, right? So if it's the 3, and if you're feeling that, and if you're manifesting it, and you're putting the energy into it, like your guides will take you to it. They will take you to the things of like, this is the rabbit hole. Like they woke you up in the middle of the night, right? Like, go down this rabbit hole, look here, look there. And I think that's, let's see. Yeah, yeah, like 100% don't limit yourself. Obviously, one place is going to be a little bit more rooted than the others. A lot of these places are going to depend on the job opportunity, or like it feels like partnership opportunities. There are actually partnership opportunities in all of these places. So it's about you tuning into how far do you go to reach out? How far do you want to dive into, like, I want these 3 places. How am I going to get there? Right? Because the universe, yes, manifestation is a thing, but action has to be partnered with it. So it's all about you deciding, like, which is why I'm seeing it all kind of mixed together. Like, how far do you want to go? How many partnerships do you want to create? How many new modalities do you want to try? What other skills do you have? Like, what does it look like? Because 100% you can make it all happen. And you feel that because your heart already knows, because it's already aligned and it's already destined. And the timeline's going to depend on your action towards making it happen.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that 100%. You have to be involved and you've got to lean in when those hunches pop up. Hey there, wellness lovers. Are you ready to transform your fitness journey? Dive into my on-demand Pilates fusion workouts and meditations. Imagine blending the best of Pilates, yoga, and mindful meditation all at your fingertips. Get strong, flexible, and zen anytime, anywhere, 24/7. Head over to jenniferpilates.com for your special exclusive subscription discount. Don't miss out on this ultimate fusion experience. Elevate your body, your mind, and your spirit today. Let's move and meditate together. Hey, beautiful souls. Are you ready to elevate your health and wellness journey? Join my Empowered Within Holistic Health and Wellness private community on Facebook. Imagine having a supportive tribe where you can connect, share, and grow together. Receive exclusive access to holistic health tips, empowering workshops, all designed to help you thrive. Head over to jenniferpilates.com to join our Empowered Within Holistic Health and Wellness community today. Don't miss out on this transformational experience. Empower your mind, body, and spirit today. Let's embark on this journey together. Head over to jenniferpilates.com to join our Empowered Within Holistic Health and Wellness community today. I'll see you there.
Yeah, absolutely. When you get those downloads, when you get those things coming through, it's all for a reason. And a lot of why people get stuck is we get these downloads and then we second guess it with our ego, or we're like, oh, I
Mhm.
don't know, maybe not, maybe I'm comfortable, maybe it's okay. Because it manifesting big things, you have to become uncomfortable. You really do.
Right.
Like this idea that spiritual awakening, then we're like floating on the earth and everything's easy and wonderful.
Right.
Like the beauty is in the difficulty. It's all about how we learn to overcome and power through and step into that warrior energy of I'm going to get
Mhm.
what I want.
I
And then the
love that.
universe shows up for you. It does. It
I
mirrors that.
so totally, because where I'm at right now, like when I say like I am totally comfortable, and I've said to Lord about 6 weeks ago, I said, I'm very comfortable here. I could probably stay here for and I just say however long you want me, because at this point I feel I've learned I have no choice in this to some degree. And I did say at that time though, I said, but if not here, you'd have to catapult me over to California, because I need to, I'm an ocean girl. I need the ocean. And I've lived in Arizona before and I love it. Love, love, love Arizona. So either in Arizona and I can go to California all the time, or put me in Arizona or put me in California and I can go to Arizona all the time. And once I said that, that's when all these things started happening, connecting me with California and the people and I had all these other connections that I wasn't paying attention to, which were being brought up now. And I want people to hear this because you and I have talked about this. Now, logically, I have already lived in California. I have already been there. And I definitely had said, I'm never bleeping doing this again. And now, even knowing what I know on an intuitive and a logical level, it makes zero sense for this Chiquita banana to go to California. However, I can't deny since that moment all of the things that were coming into alignment. So that's where I was getting confused between spirit going, hey, this is great, versus, well, if I go to Arizona, I would be safe. And do you see what I'm saying? And here I'm safe and comfortable, right? So I want people to get that even though we are who we are, Tyguenne and myself, we still need one another to be able to discern, because sometimes we're just too close. We're just too close to it.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
I say this all
Yeah.
the time too. Like I still have my psychics and my healers and all the things. Like
Mm-hmm.
even though we could do it for ourselves, it's exactly what you said. We get too close and we still get in that 3D. Get caught up in our mind. We get caught up in our ego. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's toggling back and forth all the time. And the journey is getting further and further away from that. But also it's more so that we could toggle ourselves back quicker. We can notice our thought process. We can notice the things that we're doing. And a lot of times it takes a mirror, it takes a friend, it takes another healer, it takes someone else to show us, like, hello. And then we're like, oh, that makes sense. Got
Right. Right.
it.
Like that. Yeah. Like that all makes sense. If we were to ask this, so this would be my one other question I would say, is there one place between where I'm at today, Arizona and California, where guides would go, you really should go here? Like this is really going to support you the most in a well-rounded way. You know what I'm saying? Like body, mind, spirit. This is where you're going to feel like, I got it.
Well, it's interesting you phrase it that way because it's two different things. So it's like, where should you go for the growth of what needs to happen next? And where should you go to feel comfortable? Those are actually two different things. So California feels like the timeline that's like heightened because this is going to be the biggest for your growth. You're going to learn a lot. Now, remember, I said earlier, it's maybe not going to be easy breezy. Like there are some things that are going to come up and you might feel like, I don't know if this is home, because you don't feel that like, yes, you'll have the ocean. Yes, you'll have the things that you love, but you are going to be challenged. But the universe is pushing you into this because maybe you are getting a little more on that comfortable side and you're like, this is cool. But you're someone that wants the growth. So that's why they're kind of like, okay, California's over here for that. Arizona is where you would feel more of like you're not, you're kind of missing something where you are now because
Mm-hmm.
you don't really have like your soul family. Like they're not there.
Ding, 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 ding. 100%.
Yeah. Your people aren't there. And yes, you're comfortable, but like that's not what life is about, right? Like eventually, sure, but your soul family you can also find in Arizona. They're definitely there. I need to get a new pen here. You would think the pens don't need to work because I'm scribbling, but they do. Just come through differently. Yeah, your soul family is definitely in Arizona, but Arizona is going to be more like you can continue growing with what you have now, but California is going to give you more.
Yes.
California is going to give you more, but it is going to depend on the opportunities. So, like, I see you toggling between the two timelines because something could shift at any point in time where you're like, but wait, I need my soul family first, which is also in California. And you're like, I don't know if I'm ready to like get into that warrior spirit yet, or I want to be able to go in and out of it, or I'm ready to dive into that. Like, give it to me. I've got my sword. I'm ready to dive in. And then and then I know I have Arizona. So
that's it. I'm going to cry. That's exactly what I've been saying. I feel like, and again, I want everyone to know when you're on your spiritual journey, this is why it's so important when you come across people and you know that you need to speak with them, which is why Tyguenne is on this podcast today, because I knew there was something special about her soul that I wanted everyone to experience. Had no idea, by the way, this was not pre-planned. Literally the other day, I was guided to ask her, are you okay if we dive in? I want to showcase you, your abilities. And so everything that's happening right now, me and my tears, like, this is exactly what I've been feeling, what you're saying, exactly about the two places. Exactly. You didn't know that my soul family was you had no idea I used to live in Arizona for 9 years and that my heart is there. You had no idea that going to California presents fear and excitement and challenge and all the things in the ocean, but that I know that I can get a travel van and go to Arizona and stay with my family, stay with my soul family anytime I want. And so it's that was just so beautiful.
You're gonna make me cry too. That's unbelievable. That was like, these are the moments I live for.
It was a beautiful way to explain something that I've been feeling, but I couldn't understand it because everyone, again, toggling between what I know in the world versus where I'm going in my world. And I think that's the best way to state that. So that was incredible and beautiful. And you have just experienced growth. We just grew together in this moment and exchanged some incredible spiritual energy. And I thank you for that, because that right there, I mean, you don't need to like say anything more. You did it all.
Thank you. That's so beautiful. And that's a perfect example of like a psychic reading isn't about telling your future. Like, it's really reading the current energy. And I can only tell you what your soul already knows because your guides are always communicating with you. It's just that we get caught up sometimes in the analysis paralysis and the hustle bustle and the world that we're in. And a psychic reading is just to speak to your soul and to say, like, sister, you already know, you got it. Like, yeah, it just clicks, right? It just makes it click.
Totally. And I want to say something else that you spoke of. You talked about when we get comfortable. And when I say that I'm comfortable here, like I'm comfortable. I'm not comfortable. And I know that these aren't my four walls. I know that that's not my bed. I know that I'm here for healing. And I would get confused because I'm like, well, I'm really being pulled into this community. It's for the healing that I'm giving to this community, which is, I'm going to cry. Literally, I did such a big healing on this community yesterday that I finally slept for the first time in 4 or 5 months, got 8 hours of sleep. If anyone knows me, if you've heard me in this podcast, I desire and need it. I haven't had that in a long time. And to have had that last night after the healing and the cleansing that I did yesterday on what I thought was just my four walls was so much more impactful and released me. There's still more work to do, a little bit, but the majority of what I needed to do is done. And so now I'm hearing it's just my time to be here, because I've been back and forth between, okay, get stuff ready. Don't feel too comfortable. You've gotten too comfortable. Okay, we got to get her going. And so there's beauty in that. And I don't want anyone to think that you can't ever be comfortable and have a home and be okay, because I have lived in places for 8 or 9 years at a time. You can totally do that. But then there are times where you're just somewhere to be for whatever that is and experience that. And what you just hit the head on the nail again was you said your soul family isn't here. Last night, I was having a conversation with one of my soul family members in Arizona, and she said, well, is there anyone, do you have any friends there? Like, can you go get a cup of coffee with someone? And I was like, well, I mean, I guess if I wanted to, but I said, I'm not called to do that.
Mm.
And so when you said that again, and so I share this because one, I want you all to see in real time how accurately Tyguenne was resonating with my energy throughout everything without knowing anything. Because I didn't share any of this with you. You had no idea what was going on. And that's how amazing and spectacular a connection can be with someone, particularly Tyguenne, who should you, and I would highly recommend to reach out. Not only does she do the intuitive readings, she brought in astrocartography, which is something we had actually talked about. And it's so funny because I was like, hey, do you want to talk about it? And she was like, girl, that takes like a lot of work. You got to do ABC. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let's do, whatever, do a reading. And it's moments like that when the guides say, you don't need to know about where you're going. You just need to know where you're going. Because sometimes if you knew about where you were going, you wouldn't go. Right? You wouldn't go. I mean, hi, I'm actually, if I believe, we'll have to Google this, but I do believe, I think I'm on my, is it Pluto? What's the tough line that nobody wants to go to?
You're Pluto.
I'm on Pluto. When I was in Florida, by the way, she brought up Florida. She had no idea that I was locked down in Florida for 4 years. So when you said Florida, I'm over here like, oh, hell no, not going back there. Where was I? 2 Pluto lines, 2 different parts of the state. And it's all about knowing how to work with your lines. Like she's like looking at me like, Pluto is hard. This has been challenging, but has it been empowering? This podcast was born on a Pluto line down in Florida. Has my entire world exploded on a Pluto line? 100%. All 3 times now. But if it didn't, I would not have released the people, places, and things that can no longer go forward with me on this next journey, because this is going to be the biggest adventure I ever go on, is what she was saying, but she wasn't saying it, but she was saying it.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Oh my gosh, so exciting. Oh, I don't even know. So amazing. All I can say is amazing, speechless, like still, I could cry so much more, but I try not to cry too much on the podcast, but I could cry so much more right now.
You'll let it go afterwards.
Right? I'm going to let it go afterwards. We're going to be neighbors soon. Well, not same state.
I'll come visit you. Yeah.
Same state, because we know I won't be up that high. But let's bring it back to Tyguenne. And if I may, there is always one question that I always ask the guests that I love to hear because it's so interesting. What is one thing that maybe no one knows about you?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Kind of a hard one because I'm such an open book. I know
you are. I know.
I guess actually this is what's going on in my current journey. And I think that it's something that's been interesting throughout my whole life is I have always lived in the light. I've always been like sunshine and rainbows and fun and party and like, woo, and everything's great and everything's perfect. And for the most part, that has been my life. But I would say that I still have my struggles, and I'm trying to step more into my authenticity of being comfortable expressing that. And while I think my natural personality is just to brush things off and be like, I'm fine, I'm cool, everything's good. Kind of like we were talking about earlier, even as a healer, even as a psychic, I still have my shit. There's still stuff that I have to deal with. And I think a lot of people maybe don't know that sometimes I'm learning this about myself, that I can mask those difficulties that I'm going through and be like, I'm fine, I'm okay. But I guess people wouldn't know that I still struggle on this path too, when it comes to my purpose and where I should live and my spirituality and what I dive deep into. We never fully arrive on this spiritual journey. So while I am so proud of the work that I've done and I feel so connected to higher dimensions and higher realities, yes, I still struggle in the lower. And we did talk about that earlier, but I would say most people don't really know that, especially those that aren't in my really close inner circle, that I still question things. And while I can go with the wind and fly into the universe and do all of these things, I think there are things we're just not supposed to know. Even as a psychic and even as someone that's so connected to my purpose, I still don't know sometimes. And so
Yes, I
there's,
love that. Right.
yeah, we all are going through it. We're all going through
Yeah.
the same thing. So if somebody looks like they have it all together and you're like,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
they've got it going on. Sure, maybe there's something they could teach you there, but yeah, none of us have it figured out. None of us know. We're all just like trying to figure it out and trying to stay afloat at the same time and enjoying and learning. And it's a never ending process. So remember that no matter who you see on the outside and you think they have it all figured out, they don't. And it's okay to admit that we don't have it all figured out.
Right. I think it's so important because that again brings us back to where we are as a society globally trying to come back to community. And when we have community, we're there to help one another. And it's not even that you have to ask for help. That's when I can look at you and see it in your eyes and just know that I need to show up for you. And we're going to bring that back into community. We're going to bring that back into our world. And that is going to happen. And I love what you said about not knowing. I always say you don't know what you don't know till you know.
Yeah.
And exactly what Tyguenne just shared is exactly what she just took me through for you to see. And there's still more. People think again that you have it all together, that it's this, that it's that you think no, there's always stuff behind. I would say the person that looks like they have the most together, forget about it. No way. No way. Never. And that's a good thing, right? This is called the School of Earth for a reason. We're here to learn the lessons. We're here to get the blessings along the way to make this an adventure. I want your last day, your last breath to be filled with an adventure.
Yes, I love that. It's so true. It's so true. Do it for the plot, try new things, like dive into it and just always know you're supported. That's the thing. Once we make the decisions, the universe is going to meet us. It's going to meet us there always.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, Tyguenne, will you share with our community where they can best reach you for a reading, to get into your classes, all the jazz?
Absolutely. Well, Instagram is a great place. It's my name, which is spelled absolutely ridiculously, but I'm the only one, so I'm easy to find. So TYGUENNE on Instagram. And then my website is thebeautifulshift.com. I created The Beautiful Shift during my first spiritual awakening because I felt like that's exactly what I was going through. I was shifting from one reality to the next. So The Beautiful Shift is my brand. And on there, you can find my courses, how to book a psychic reading, astrocartography reading, Reiki, whatever it is you're looking for. It is all there.
Wonderful. And as we close out the show today, what is one last piece of inspiration that you'd like to leave us with?
I would say learn to really trust your intuition. Sit in silence, take the time, dive into the modalities that are coming your way, because I think that's the number one secret on this journey is once you tap into your intuition, you tap into your spiritual gifts, you tap into your superpowers, you tap into your soul's purpose. That's all of our mission here. And so if no matter where you are on your journey, I think strengthening your intuition and learning to trust that fully and wholeheartedly is going to get you exactly where you need to be. So I would say if you're going to do anything, get to know your intuition and learn, play little games with it, go back and forth with it. I always say you also have to defy your intuition to learn to trust it. So be kind with yourself when you have these moments that you're like, oh, I should have known that. I should have done that. Oh, I should have trusted. Like that's your learning experience. So defy your intuition, dive into your intuition, learn what it's all about. And I promise you're going to be fulfilled and find your purpose.
That is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. And thank you so much for your time, for your energy, for your insights and your knowledge. This has been such a beautiful, beautiful blessing of a podcast today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. It's been awesome tapping into your energy. I'm excited to see what you do next.
I know, right? So am I. Oh, thank you all for listening. And as we say, until next time, may you live an empowered life from within. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to Empowered Within with Jennifer Pilates. Your feedback is important. It helps me to connect with you and gives me insight into who you are and what you're enjoying about the show. For today's show notes and discount codes from today's sponsors, head over to jenniferpilates.com. Until next time, may you live an empowered life from within. Hey, beautiful souls. Are you ready to elevate your health and wellness journey? Join my Empowered Within Holistic Health and Wellness private community on Facebook. Imagine having a supportive tribe where you can connect, share, and grow together. Receive exclusive access to holistic health tips, empowering workshops, all designed to help you thrive. Head over to jenniferpilates.com to join our Empowered Within Holistic Health and Wellness community today. Don't miss out on this transformational experience. Empower your mind, body, and spirit today. Let's embark on this journey together. Head over to jenniferpilates.com to join our Empowered Within Holistic Health and Wellness community today. I'll see you there.